Welcome in to the Blanket Coverage Podcast. Today is Saturday, February the 12th, and tomorrow is the big game. It is Super Bowl Sunday between the Bengals and the Rams. We've got you covered here for all your player props, for your totals. We're doing a betting preview. We're doing a game preview. We're doing it all here in a short mini episode, but one in which we will dive very deep into the biggest sporting spectacle in the U.S., if not the world. I am joined as always by my co-host, Jack Wallace. Jack, I know you're tired. I know you can do it. We just got to get through it. It's power through time.
Yes, I have been going all over the place, basically with everything. I I have just finished today taking photos for Syracuse on SI with the Syracuse men's lacrosse team, and yesterday I did the women's game, and I'll be actually women's game again tomorrow. Women's play on a Sunday against Binghamton after today's, so pretty fun. I have enjoyed it a lot. I really enjoy being able to get those opportunities and going out there to do it. But today is, of course, a wonderful day to celebrate the Super Bowl, which will begin tomorrow. It has been one of the latest Super Bowls of all time, simply due to the fact we have an 17th game, which leads to Week 18. So to lead into that, we'll start off with our matchup preview. And just to get a couple of notes before we dive into this, some notes here. This is the first ever time ever in a Super Bowl that Rams and the Bengals have played. It's the first time ever that both teams been the 4 seed or worse, and it's the youngest combination of coaches ever, with Taylor being 38 years old and McVay 36. So lots of firsts here for the Super Bowl, but to go in at least for the X factor of the game, what are we thinking? Because I have my answer.
So I think the X factor is going to be the Cincinnati O-line. Now, there's a couple sort of branches off of that, which has to do with Joe Burrow being able to get out of sacks, because that is something that we've seen a decent amount, is Joe Burrow being able to he just has that escapability, and he has so much poise in the pocket. We'll see how he fares with Aaron Donald breathing down his neck and Leonard Floyd. And some of these guys that the Rams have that can really wreak havoc in the backfield. So I think the big one is the Bengals offensive line. And are they going to be able to run the ball? And are they going to be able to protect Joe Burrow in second and long, third and long situations?
And that's a big point that I wanted to agree with too. Actually, I had this written down as well, but the Bengals offensive line, because this was the point that, I mean, you can go back to our podcast way back months ago when we talked about the NFL draft and how we thought that Jamar Chase, again, was a great athlete. I didn't really have much doubt he was going to play well, but we all really worried about, was the Bengals offensive line going to hold up at all? And the problem is their matchup is not a good one. You have the Rams defensive line that we know has been touted for a long time by one of the greatest defensive players of our generation, Aaron Donald. And that's going to be really difficult for the Bengals to get much done here because they're a very two-dimensional offense. They have a lot of great work on the ground from Joe Mixon. They have the mobile feet of Joe Burrow, which had been used a lot this year due to the offensive line being poor. But that second dimension is likely going to be, could be gone, but will most certainly be limited to a lot more of what they'll usually do. Now, of course, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase will be out flying on the side, so they won't have any offense. But that does take away a big second leg for this kind of team. But if you want for my only take on that to add too, because I know that was yours, my only extra take to add is that if I had to add any other X factor in, I would want to see the specific matchup of what Ramsey and Chase is going to look like.
We were on the same page there. I was about to say the same thing. I'm not sure if that's going to be the X factor that decides the game, because the Bengals do have other offensive weapons, and we'll get to who I think is really going to pop off here in a minute. But the Bengals do have other offensive weapons. We don't know what percentage, how healthy CJ Uzomah is. Obviously had a pretty scary knee injury in the last game. They're calling it a sprain. We don't exactly know what it is, but T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are nothing to sneeze at. And especially if they can get Joe Mixon in open space or even Samaje Perine. We saw that last game. They dialed up a play to get Samaje Perine in space. So I think the real key here is, are they going to be able to get their playmakers in space? But in terms of just pure matchup potential, you're absolutely right. I mean, the get your popcorn matchup of the game is going to be Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey.
And that's what I'm interested to sort of see on here. Looking up to our next point that you brought in, I know we're kind of firing on these quick. We're getting going right to them. Game changes on a play made by whom? For me, that's Aaron Donald, because we're going to keep with the defensive line thing. But is there anyone else to look out for who could be? And this isn't necessarily X factor in terms of the whole game, but in a one moment, who can be that guy to make that big play?
I'm going to go with Trey Hendrickson. I think Trey Hendrickson could make a big play. And if he plays the way that he's been playing all season, it's not like Stafford's going to have an easy time sitting back there, right? Stafford is going to have to move around. They're going to have to come up with creative ways to get Cooper Kupp the ball, because this is a defensive line that can wreak some havoc in your backfield. It's not the biggest or best defensive line, but Trey Hendrickson is a real quality player, and he's been around the league for a while now. So I think Trey Hendrickson could make that play. However, I think it's made by Jalen Ramsey. We don't see Joe Burrow throw that many picks in clutch situations. We haven't recently. There was a little pick bug that he was fighting earlier in the year, but I think we could see that come back. And I think especially if he's trying to just fit one into Jamar Chase, I mean, do not be surprised if Jalen Ramsey makes a pick to seal the game here.
Would you like a juicy stat here? I actually should have mentioned this last segment, but a juicy stat here.
Yeah.
The Rams are ranked first in pass rush win rate over the season. Bengals are 30th in pass block win rate, and they're 25th or worse in pass block win rate at every position, which that includes the tight end and running back, as well as all 5 offensive linemen. This is the 3rd Super Bowl ever with an offense that got sacked 50 plus times during a regular season and a defense that sacked someone 50 or more times.
And I think what that really
that's crazy.
Is, this could look a lot like last year, because the Bucs had a sensational front 7 last year. And as
showed.
Good as the Chiefs were, and as much as they hung around that game, and as much as Patrick Mahomes put on the cape, so to speak, for a lot of that game, and there were certainly some chances that they had to win it, he was running for his life all day. And it worries me for Joe Burrow that might be what we see tomorrow night. I don't think it's going to be quite that lopsided, just by nature of the Bengals' offensive line is actually mostly healthy. They're just not good necessarily. So I see them coming up with some wrinkles, with some chips, able to keep that line at bay enough to have some success. I don't think it's going to be a repeat of last year.
So to ask you this question, because I have a lead in as well for this, does defense still win championships? Because my point on this too, with what is interesting about this, and I know this is offensive, what we've seen of Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase. First time ever in a Super Bowl that number 1 and number 2 in receiving yards have met in a Super Bowl. Never happened before. And the question is, with those players being that good, and Kupp, who this stat on Kupp is ridiculous. He has had, where's the stat? I had it right here. Kupp has had more catches, 28 versus 25, and touchdowns, 7 versus 5, on vertical routes this season than in his 4 previous seasons combined. So he has become this absurd, amazing deep threat this season. Do you think that Cincinnati's deeper secondary can stop these vertical routes from Kupp? Because that's going to be a huge part of the game. He has to be stopped there.
Yes, because I don't think the Rams have quite now explosiveness and being successful do not necessarily go hand in hand always. But I think the fact that they were able to drop 8 into coverage in the last game and stifle the Chiefs offense, which I definitely think is more explosive than the Rams offense, even though Cooper Kupp is a very explosive player. I think they were able to have a lot of success stopping a more explosive offense. Therefore, I think they are going to be able to have some success. I think they're going to cull down Cooper Kupp's receiving yards a little bit. Now, they're not going to be able to stop him with the facilities that they have, but I think they will be able to slow them down at least in one half of football. Now, whether that's the first half or the second half, I think might be the deciding factor in the game. But I think for one half, they're going to be able to throw together a game plan to at least slow down Kupp.
And what we're going to move to last here is our final question before we get into bets. Burrow versus Stafford. We're talking about two quarterbacks with wildly different stories, both with obviously a lot to play for. We have sort of the old versus new, and a new quarterback with Burrow only in his second season, first one marred by injury. His first real shot with this team, and what does he do? Goes to the Super Bowl. And then you have Stafford, who in a very different sense also had his first real shot with the team this year, considering that he played for an NFL team this season for the first time in his career. And with the Rams, was able to lead them. I'm sorry, so mean lines, but he led the team all the way to the Super Bowl. So it's kind of wild that both these quarterbacks in their first season with an actual team that's built even slightly for them when they were healthy, immediately went to the Super Bowl. And so the thing is here is the biggest reason to why I think the Bengals could win this game is because we might see bad Matt Stafford show up. Because we know we've seen a lot of good Matt Stafford, but when is the late game interception Stafford going to show up? Because, not saying it could happen in this game, because it may not, but that's something that could offset the Rams here. And I think that Stafford, I'm more confident in Burrow not doing that than Stafford.
I think that the Bengals have to be able to live with Matt Stafford being able to sit there and pat the ball a little bit every now and then. If you can't win with 4, you're not going to get better on defense by rushing. It's going to get actively worse. So I think as long as the Bengals stick to rushing 3 or 4, dropping 7 or 8, I think we might see late game Stafford make some mistakes. But if they choose to try to light him up a little bit, that's obviously not going to work out. Now, I don't think they will, because we saw in the Cardinals game what happens when you try to light Stafford up, and he's going to in turn light you up. But it's not like the Rams have looked particularly clean with the ball. Other than that game, they've had some clunkers, namely the Tampa Bay game. When Tampa Bay really put together a great first half, the Rams almost blew that just based off turnovers. So I certainly think, as you said, the potential is there for the Rams to make some critical errors. I just don't know whether that's going to be Stafford. Because even in that Tampa Bay game, none of those turnovers were his fault particularly. None of those were interceptions. So I certainly think Stafford can live up to the hype, but like you said, it could really go in either direction because we've seen it throughout his career.
And now we can go ahead and look at our player props, our betting spreads, MVPs, who's going to win, who's going to cover. We don't know, but we definitely can bet about it. So we can dive right into what we're thinking about on those lines. And now with this information, this is your time to shine, Noah, because I know this is your thing. So if you'd like to, you can go ahead and share your screen, pull it up on the side. We'll be using FanDuel today just because that's the one that we found that was nice. We're not sponsored, so we're not promoting this, but you can use honestly any of these, but it's any of them are good. But for this one, we're going to walk through and I want to see what you have and what you may recommend that I do, because I have never really bet anything before. I don't really have much of an opinion on that. I obviously have my sports takes, but I've never really bet on many of them. So we'll have you as our faithful guide to help us out with this.
All right, so we're gonna be looking at a couple different things here. I want to pick a few different player props. I want to pick a total. I want to pick a spread, and I want to pick an MVP here. So for the player props, let's find. Now I gotta find this again. Okay, so we go to games, and now they're gonna give it to us. Okay, let's go with rushing yards. I like the Joe Mixon under. I don't think the Bengals O-line is going to be able to get a push. And I also don't think they're going to run the ball quite as much as they ran it against Kansas City. So I'm hitting Joe Mixon under 60.5 here. Let's go over to the receiving yards. Now, Cooper Kupp, God, I want to take it because he's been so good this season. He's been so consistent this postseason. I'm not going to because I think they're going to throw 2 guys on him for most of the game.
So then who's your second option?
I would look at Odell, but I think 63.5 is actually a big number. I don't think they're going to put up the most ridiculous passing yards that we've ever seen in this game necessarily. I had my bets written down here. Okay. I want T. Higgins over 71.5. I think Ramsey is, for the most part, going to be shadowing Chase. And I think they're going to do a lot to get T. Higgins the ball when that happens, because T. Higgins is a guy who can take advantage of a matchup with your second best corner, with your third best corner. And he's a guy you can throw the ball up to, and he's going to make contested catches as well. So I love T. Higgins over 71.5. And then my final bet, we're going Joe Burrow over 11.5 rushing yards, because we know the guy's going to be running for his life, and this does not include sack yardage. So sacks are not counted in this. I think Joe Burrow is going to have at least 12 rushing yards. I think he's going to have 20 plus because he's going to be running for his life the whole time.
I think that's a pretty easy bet too, frankly. So, I'm inclined to take that.
Joe Burrow over 11.5 rushing yards, book it. Jack, anything you see here, whether it's rushing yards, passing yards, we can go passing touchdowns.
Yes. I'm still on this page myself on my end, so I'm looking as well. Okay. But I see what you're doing though. For me, it's trying to think about what these kind of teams are going to be game planning and if they're going to shift much from their usual kind of take to what they do. And I agree with you in what you were saying, how it's not going to be kind of the same thing as last time. At least in terms of the 30-9 kind of game is not exactly what we're going to be looking at today or tomorrow. But at least I look for passing touchdowns. Joe Burrow is 1.5. I really like the over on that. I think, again, with him scrambling out, trying to find some room and how good that line is going to be, he's going to try to hop over.
It is juiced because that line is minus 160. So you're getting worse odds for a pretty good Joe Burrow line, but I don't hate it at all.
I just think that's too much of a lock to ignore. I would be really surprised if he doesn't throw for 2 touchdown passes. That seems like a pretty... And Stafford at 2.5 is a little riskier. I know that's plus 148, so it's a lot better of odds for you if you win. But it's I don't know if I like Stafford with 3. I think they could, because the thing is that we're forgetting is that these two defenses are middling defenses in terms of a league look. They're the number 17 and 18th ranked defense throughout the regular season. So
yeah,
we're not going to see a defensive slugfest. This will not be the Rams. This will not be the 2018 Super Bowl. Do not think that it's
talking about the Rams because they have Aaron Donald as this like lethal force. And yes, they are first in pass rush win rate, but they are not the world's best defense, right?
Yeah.
They have Leonard Floyd. They have Von Miller. They have those guys who can really wreak havoc, but it's not like they're unbeatable. This is not the 85 Bears we're talking about. This is not even the number one defense in the league. They have weaknesses and they can be exploited, which is what I think makes this such a good matchup.
Now, there is an interesting one here, too. Joe Burrow possibly getting over 300 passing yards. I think that could happen in this game. I think you could even push that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's plus.
Again, they're not going to run the ball. And the Rams,
plus
the
148 for you. It is plus 148. So
the Rams do not have a defense that's any kind of bet. I don't know where the sack bets are. I tried to find bets for sacks because there has to be something with that. I would say it's a lock that Aaron Donald's going to get at least 2. I think even it's hard to bet sacks. I know that's only tackles on there, tackles and assists. But I would be
have a
pretty
sack prop.
There may be on another side. But if there is, I would be pretty surprised if Aaron Donald didn't have a couple. I could maybe see Tyler Boyd getting a touchdown too. Because sitting in the slot, I think that he could do some damage. Because the Rams are going to be focusing on those outside receivers with Higgins and Chase. And so I think they may try to sneak Boyd in to get a touchdown in the slot. I think that could happen. What are the odds?
I think you're thinking right.
I think that, and that's a little bit of a long shot there. I know it's not super. I don't know what the odds are on that. I need a receiving props rate.
250. It's pretty good.
I think he's kind of a dark horse guy for getting that. I think that could be potentially something to look at. I'm still not sure what I'm going to take yet because I don't really know which ones are going to be the safer ones to bet. I know Cooper Kupp is pretty obviously the easiest bet to get for a touchdown because it's Cooper Kupp, but yeah, I think Tyler Boyd is definitely one to look out for. I think he has much better odds than at least they say there. I do think that Mixon is going to get a good amount of touches. I just don't think he's going to get a lot of yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to try him a bunch, but I don't think it's going to do much. I don't think he's going to do nothing. Like, even when it says 60, I think he could get 40 or 50. I mean, especially if he gets one cut and gets to the outside, he could get potentially a big chunk. But I think that could be an interesting point there. Other note, I'm looking at some other things too. Who may go for this one?
Let's get one more in, and then I'm gonna run the total here.
Yes, one more thing in. Let me take one other look here. I'm gonna get one more in. I'm just saying some things. Let me see on. In terms, this one's a little bit out there. Total kicking points. I know it's minus 144, but I could see Evan McPherson putting up a pretty nasty game on the kicking terms. He's been ridiculous for the Bengals recently, and I feel like that's a bet that people might forget about to look. But I think that could be an interesting one, as well as the over for 24 is plus 100 for first half total. I would think that would hit. And overall,
I'm actually, and I don't see it. I don't see it on here, but on my book, this is my total pick. I got Bengals first half under 10 points. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring first half. And I like it being at 10 as opposed to, 9.5 or something, or 7.5 or something like that. Because if they score 10 points, I still push. So I'm not upset with that at all. I believe that is what I will be taking, is Bengals first half under 10 points. But if you like the total, go ahead and hit it.
Well, if you want to be a little crazy, you could go with, what is this one? What is it? I just saw it. It went away. It was something absolutely insane. I think it was went away. I thought it was plus 20,000 odds or something. I couldn't remember what it was, but I'd say that's pretty unlikely to happen. But yeah, those are a little bit of mine. Again, I'm not super experienced with all of this, so I'm just trying to get a few things down. but I'll continue to look at some other options. But our next segment here can be under total. So instead of player ones, we're going to look at the total game in and of itself.
I already gave mine.
Oh, you did already do that. Did we talk about spread yet? I don't think we have.
No,
Really?
But you need to give a total.
Total for me.
You can go team total. You can go first half total. First half is 22. The total game is 48.5. Rams, I believe, are 13.5. No, they're 13. First half total. And the Bengals are 10.
I think I may go with over 57.5.
Over 50. Where do you see that?
On totals, first thing, alternative total points. Should be on the first one.
On the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on it right now. Oh, you went off it.
Oh.
Yeah, so you just have to keep going down.
Yeah, I see where we're.
Yeah, you have to do more. It's plus 270. I think I'm looking at like a 31-8 to 31-28 kind of score.
Okay.
I think each team will get 4 touchdowns.
I don't hate it, but
it's a bolder take. I really believe in these offenses.
Very bold take. 57.5.
I just believe in these offenses. I really to me, I can't imagine the storylines of both Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford falling flat in this big of a game.
So much for
it's too much
championships.
It's too much for both of them. I don't think they're going to fall flat on that. And even with the defense of the Rams, it's not like the Bengals don't know this. So I don't think they have much of an answer for what Burrow's been doing. So I don't know. I'm feeling that kind of game from this. So I would go with that higher one there.
All right. Don't hate it at all.
Now we can go to the spread.
Yeah, let's go to the spread. My pick is easy. I saw Bengals plus 4.5, and I hit that shit. It's now plus 4, and we're gonna do it at the time of recording. So, as of the podcast record, I am picking plus 4. But plus 4.5 was what I got.
I'm also going to go with that because, again, I'm still rolling with a 31-28 final, so that would coincide with plus 4. And I think yes.
No, you would win.
Yeah, it's winning.
All right, so you've got – let's do MVP right quick. This is the last thing we're going to get to. I need to change this real quick. We can see the MVP odds here. These are from Odds Shark. I am sure it's Bovada lines. But here, odds at Bet Online Sportsbook as of yesterday. Okay. Can you see them all right?
Yes. Gotta look real close.
And again, it doesn't have to line up necessarily. This pick does not have to line up with who you think is going to win the game. These are all, like, outside of Burrow and Stafford, these are kind of long shots. That's why Burrow and Stafford have by far the best odds.
I might be fun, and I may pick Aaron Donald. I think he has a career day.
I think it's a great value. I think Aaron Donald's a great value. I don't like the receivers. I don't think a receiver is going to end up.
That's too hard. The only way that would happen.
I think Cam Akers.
Well, it's because the games are going to be built against those receivers. Like you can put 2 guys. You can lock down Kupp. You can do your most to lock down Chase. But what are you going to do against Donald? Even if you triple team him, it's like I don't think that will stop him. So I think. Yeah. I think that kind of push on him is going to make that really, really difficult to stop. So I may go with Donald, and I'm aware that my odds of hitting this are very small. But if it does, you heard it here first. So
I think
I'll bet that in.
I like that one. I'm going to be boring. I'm going with Joe Burrow. as my official pick, but my non-official pick is Cam Akers.
Okay.
Because if he goes for 150 and 2 touchdowns, I think he could get it.
That's a big bet, though, but that is possible. We now can go on to, if you have any other miscellaneous picks. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right, I gotta get at least one of these in.
They're always fun, stupid ones at the Super Bowl, and you gotta throw some in there too.
So dumb. I need to stop screen sharing here for a second. I'm trying to get these miscellaneous prop bets. I love the national anthem prop bet. I think
that one is pretty good.
I'm still trying to find it. I can't find it on FanDuel.
I guess our background's still broken, unfortunately.
I guess so.
It's fine.
I can fix that. There
you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a really
There's nothing?
That was a really boring one. I'm trying to find it on FanDuel. I don't have it. Let's see if I can find it on Oddshark.
I found some odds. If you want to wear some, I found some odds.
Okay.
This is not on an official site, but I'm just going to read them out. They're 5. You'll enjoy these. First one is the price of Bitcoin. How much will Bitcoin fluctuate? The prices going down are minus 140, and the odds going up are minus 140, going down are minus 110. Proposals after the game. The odds of there not being a proposal on camera during the game is minus 850, and the odds of a proposal are plus 550. Number 3, the player doing the icky shuffle during the game, which was by the last time the Bengals made the Super Bowl in 1989. Icky Woods, popular touchdown dance, the icky shuffle. So during the game, if a player scores a touchdown, if they will do that to tribute him. Yes is minus 175, and no is plus 125. So they're actually pretty high odds this will happen. What jersey will rapper Drake wear? Drake curse odds.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Wait. He's wearing a Rams jersey. It's gonna be Odell.
The odds of him wearing a Bengals jersey are plus 200. Rams jersey are minus 325.
Yeah.
Which Peyton Manning will Peyton Manning bowl a strike in the Michelob Ultra commercial? The teaser of the commercial showed that he was lining up to take a shot at bowling alley. A strike is minus 165, while no are plus 110.
Here's
These
what I got.
So goofy.
Okay, national anthem. Over under 104 seconds. So that is a minute and I hate math. A minute and
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
2 minutes and 20 seconds? That's not 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
144 seconds or 140 seconds? Is that what you said?
140. Sorry, 104.
Oh, 104.
104 seconds.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said 140. Yeah, that's this is sad.
A minute and 44 seconds.
Yes. There is that. Yes, we did it.
I'm gonna go with over.
I think over too. They drag it out every time.
All right. Here's the real exciting one. What color will they dump on the winning coach? I am putting every cent I own, half of it on lime green and half of it on blue. Now, orange is the overwhelming favorite. And since 2006, It has been orange 31% of the time.
How do you know that?
Because I'm reading it right now.
Oh, man. Here's a good one.
Orange
Over
at 31, orange at 31%. Blue and yellow tied at 18.75%.
First touchdown, jersey number. So the bet you do is the number it's most likely going to be closest to. So over under is like the number. So if Chase wins, the number's 1. So the 19.5 over under, you'll have the under. And Cooper Kupp is number 10. So that would be under. Odell would be under. Van Jefferson's under. But then I guess if I think it's what Tyler Higbee scores, then it'd be the over. That's interesting. How many players will have a passing attempt? Over under is 2.5.
Over.
In the past 3 Super Bowls, only the 2 starting quarterbacks have attempted a pass. But in the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl, there were 4 passers. The Rams have run 2 trick plays during the season with punter Johnny Hecker and receiver Cooper Kupp both attempting a pass. Bengals let Tyler Boyd throw a pass this year.
Over.
Who performs first during halftime? Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem, and Mary J. Blige.
So if they come out to the next episode, is that Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg?
I don't know.
Because the opening, they could come out together in the opening line of the song, la da 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 da, that whole thing. They like that. Would that be Snoop Dogg winning?
Yeah, because he technically was the first one to say anything.
All right. My bet's on Snoop Dogg because I think that's
Mary J. Blige is actually the favorite right now.
No.
170 plus 175.
They are coming out to the next episode. Book it.
How many times will the chains be used for a measurement? Over under is set at 1.5.
Under 1.
There's Odell Beckham receiving yards, 64.5. Joe Burrow touchdowns, 1.5. We already saw those. Okay. This one, you'd have to do pretty soon. Tonight, UFC's 271 is at Houston's Toyota Center. Derek Lewis and then Ty Tuivasa. Which will be greater? Shortest touchdown or rounds in the Derek Lewis Ty Tuivasa fight tonight?
Rounds.
Bengals +4 was your last one on there. So I'm telling you, this is me just looking up just like weird Super Bowl bets of what you can do.
It's like, the best. It's awesome.
Unanswered points.
We're done. All right, let's pick it. Let's pick a winner, and I want you to give me the score.
All right, winner and score. For me, I'm going to go with the team that went all in this season to get it. They're playing at home, which really means it's neutral site because it's the Rams. But even though there are a lot of things against them here, I do think that simply the fact that their defense is that good on the line, and that is just going to be a lot of what Cincinnati needs to succeed here, that I think that's going to be too high of a hurdle for the Bengals to overcome. I know Ryan would not enjoy my take right now, but that's okay. I am sorry, Ryan. Do I want the Bengals to win for the fun of it? Yes, I think it would be funnier if the Bengals went to LA and beat the Rams in LA to win the Super Bowl. That would be hilarious, but I don't think that that's going to happen this year. I just think that the Rams are going to game plan too well for this team. They're going to make them one-dimensional, and as good as Joe Burrow is, I think it's going to be really hard for him to beat out a team of this caliber. So I think the Rams have everything firing exactly when they need to be and what they need to do, and I think that Tampa Bay was their choke game. I think that was the game that they had to choke, and they're going to come into this game and say, okay, that's done. And I don't think they're going to wipe them off the board. It's not going to be any kind of blowout. I think this will be a very tight, good game because the Bengals are not just going to waltz in here. They know what they're up against. They do not. This is not a Michigan football situation where Michigan basically gave up when it came to the playoffs and was like, we already won. Great. Like, The Bengals are not satisfied yet. I don't think they're just going to lay down and die. But I do think the Rams are the better team, and I will go with the score I said a little earlier, and I think it'll be 31-28. I know it's a pretty safe score, but I feel like teams will not have a lot of trouble getting into the end zone. I think teams are going to score a little easier than they should, but I think there'll be a good amount of punts in this. I just think we're going to see, especially with Cup, that there are just going to be some deep balls, stuff chunked down there, and that we're going to have some deep plays. I think there'll be a lot of big yardage plays in this game.
I'm with you. I think the Rams just have a little bit more juice, and I think we're going to see that when someone who we know their name very well, whether it's Cooper Kupp or Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey or whoever, Von Miller even, who has made big plays in the Super Bowl before. I think the Rams you're going to see one of those names show up when it really matters and make a game-changing play. And that's where I draw the line, and I say the Rams are going to win this game. However, I do think the Bengals are going to cover. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be surprisingly low scoring in the first half. I think we're going to get some nerves here. These are two teams with a lot of guys that have not played in a game like this, that are not used to this kind of pressure. Now, I think Joe Burrow is going to come out firing. Whether that's a good thing or not is an entirely different conversation altogether. But I got the Rams 23, the Bengals 20. Rams win, Bengals cover. Relatively low scoring, but nicely in the mid-range there. But if that is all for you, Jack, that will do it for me. Make sure you tune back in next week as we recap the Super Bowl, put a bow on the season, and start to look towards our exit interviews, which is going to be really fun. We're going to start, I don't know what we're going to start with. Last year, I believe it was the AFC South. So we'll see what the first episode ends up being here. But thank you so much for listening. Go check out Jack's work for Syracuse on SI. I know he's got a Syracuse basketball article coming out very soon as well on gtdsports.com. Go check it out. Keep listening. Keep tuning in. Thank you guys so much. I'm Noah Parker.
And I'm Jack Wallace.
Peace out, y'all.